And we're live. Okie dokie. This is take two. Well, kind of take three, but take two of episode 21 of the Makers TV. And today we're going to be talking about the essential elements that make a good logo. Now, yes, I did try and do this earlier in the day, and the only sound that was over the video was this big, like, horrible noise. There was no actual sound coming out. I did do a test just 5 seconds ago, and the sound was fine. So hopefully the sound is fine this time too. If you are watching live on Facebook at all, please just leave a comment to say that you can hear me or not. Okay, so yes, I'm Michaela Danvers from the makerscollective.com.au, and each week, almost every week, I publish live, actionable, hold on, sorry, I need to go up to my notes, and still sick. Good start. Okay, where are we? Yes. So I deliver weekly episodes with short, sharp, actionable lessons to help you strengthen your brand and grow your business. That's what the Makers Collective is all about, and just helping you get those core strengths of your brand in order and really like consolidated and consistent to make sure that you can grow your business. I feel like it's a little bit later in the day today rather than when I did the first take of this, which went pretty well. You can check out my Instagram live story. I recorded it on there as well. I had to do all this. I was trying to get the audio from that to put over the video from this that I recorded earlier, but it was just a disaster. But it is later in the day now, and I am still a bit sick. And my dogs are going nuts because there's so much traffic going outside of everyone coming home. So apologies. This is not the most polished live ever, but I'm hoping to actually do it a bit quicker this time because I've already covered the content today once already. So let's jump into it. Today I want to talk about visual branding and specifically how to ensure that your business logo really actually represents your brand and also looks professional and well designed. So we've got 5 basic keys that are the essential elements to a good logo. And the first key is the first key to have a really solid, well-designed logo is ensuring that you actually know your brand and that your brand is strong. So if you don't yet know who your customers are or what your purpose is or what your actual brand messaging looks like, the personality, tone of voice, all that kind of thing, and how that's represented with colors and typefaces and whatnot, then creating a logo to represent those things is going to be impossible if you don't know what they are yet. So to speak to this, I've created a free download, and the link is below this video in the description, whether you're watching live on Facebook or later on YouTube or even on the Makers Collective website. The link will be below, and it's called Know Your Brand Workbook, and it's just a really simple, easy to use workbook that you can go through. It might take you a couple of goes to get all the answers really succinct and sort of feeling natural to you and your brand, but that's really going to help you figure out those core things that you need to know about your brand before then moving forward with your visual identity. So once you have that sorted and you do know your brand really well, you can move on to the second key, which is to keep your logo simple. So a logo really does help to tell a brand's story, but one mistake that a lot of people make is trying to tell the story with imagery and illustration in their logo, which is kind of unnecessary. You really don't need to include everything about your business in that one symbol or emblem. Your logo must be simple for a few reasons. To be memorable, you want people to be able to remember it later. You don't want it to be too busy because then the brain is kind of like, well, there's so many things to remember. I don't know which thing I'm remembering. The main thing you want them to remember is the actual name of your business. Because if they remember an element, like maybe they remember, oh, it had a really nice like candle picture in it, and they know it's a candle business, but they don't know the name, try figuring out what brand that is across the internet land. Like there's thousands and thousands of them, so it's not going to work out. It also needs to be functional across multiple applications, so web, print, clothing, products, etc. It also needs to be scalable, so it needs to work at large sizes but also small sizes. And for it to be a really good design, as I said, it needs to work across multiple applications, and that also means that it needs to work in black only, or what, I'll get to the color stuff in a second, but basically it needs to work on digital stuff. It needs to work on paper and in print. It needs to work on clothing. It needs to work on a pen, you know, so it needs to work across lots of different things if you're planning to be a really strong business. So yeah, basically good design does not include anything that is not absolutely necessary to get the message across. So key number 3 is the logo must be appropriate. Hello, Justine. Can you hear me? Please tell me if you can hear me. I hope the sound is okay this time. Yes, key number 3, it must be appropriate. So it must be appropriate for its intended use, as in if you're designing a logo for like a pro wrestling brand, you're probably not want to be, you don't want to be like getting across this really feminine or like delicate typeface or color scheme or elements, whatever. So you need to keep in mind that every color you use, every shape, every typeface, they all have a meaning and a feeling behind them. That's what graphic design is knowing all of that. Yes, thank you, Justine. You can hear me. Fantastic. I've had a interesting technologically challenged day, so it's fantastic that you can actually hear what I'm saying. Thank you. Yeah, so everything you do in your design has a feeling and a meaning behind it, and you need to make sure that you're using the correct colors and the correct typeface and the correct shapes and all that kind of thing to tell your brand story. So you need to make sure that you're telling the right story with all those things. You need to make sure that everything that is in your logo is appropriate. And I'm just going to read out a little quote here from a blog that I really like called Just Creative. It's also important to state that a logo doesn't need to show what a business sells or offers as a service. For example, car logos don't need to show cars. Computer logos don't need to show computers. The Harley-Davidson logo isn't a motorcycle, nor is the Nokia logo a mobile phone. A logo is purely for identification. So just keep that in mind. Like if you sell candles, you don't have to have the candle in your logo. If you sell dresses, you don't have to have a dress in your logo. Just keep to those really, you know, necessary elements to be able to get your message across. Key number 4 is it must work with a limited color palette. So basically, as I was saying, like you want to be able to use your logo across multiple applications. One of those might be if you're getting it embroidered on an apron, maybe if you're going to a market or something, you want to sort of have a uniform. Usually embroidery places want to have single color vector files as their, thank you, good info, thank you, as the file that you send to them. So it needs to work in one color. So if you have all these like gradients or multiple colors or like drop shadows or stuff like that, that's not actually going to work as a one color item. Now, my mum has just arrived, brought Harriet home, and the dogs are barking. I might have to cut this off early. Okay, so it must work on a limited color palette. So it needs to work in black and white, or all black or all white, because you also need to remember that you might not be the only person using your logo. So if you're doing collaborations or anything like that, maybe you're doing like a or sponsoring someone, they might request to have your logo all in white so they can put it on top of a photograph, for example. So you need to make sure that if you do have all those gradients and colors and stuff, that the logo still actually works as that one single color, like single white, single black, etc. You'll be able to hear my daughter coming in now with my mum. Okay, so key number 5. I'm just doing my video. Sorry, I had to redo it. Hey, Mama. I'm almost finished though. I'm almost finished. Okay, so key number 5, it should have a maximum of 2 typefaces. So when it comes to successful logo design, choosing the typeface you implement is the most crucial design decision that you'll make. Hey, Bubby, you want to come in my video? No? Okay, stay there. You funny girl. So when I'm teaching all my students at the university and also across, year 11 and 12 and for the past however long, the main mistake that they all make is to not put enough thought into, enough consideration into the typeface that they choose. So even the real gun students, the ones that like do amazing stuff, their design can just be let down by a bad type choice. Hi. So that's the one thing that most people don't consider that you really need to consider in your design of not just your logo, but also across everything in your business, like all the social graphics that you're putting out, everything that you're putting out. You need to make sure that the typeface that you choose is putting across the correct message. Because if you're a really fun and quirky brand, you really should be using a fun and quirky typeface, not something super serious. If, on the other hand, you really need to be putting across the idea that you're very trustworthy and you do want to come across really serious, don't use a really like fun, flowy brush stroke typeface. You'll be tired. Me too. So yeah, typeface choice is really important. The other main mistake that people make is to use too many typefaces. Hello. Yes, she is pretty cute. Thank you, Justine. She's very tired, I think. So hold on, sweetie. Yeah, too many typefaces are just, it's really, it sort of becomes like people are trying to view, like they just don't know what the message is, and there's too much information going through to really know what message you're trying to get across. Hey, no, don't touch that. Don't touch it. That's the microphone. You trying to play with that? Look, we're talking to people in here, okay? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so, yeah, mainly that's where are we up to? Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. But that's basically the 5 key things. We'll quickly go through them again. So key number 1 was knowing your brand. Key number 2 is to keep everything really simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. Key number 3 is making sure everything is appropriate, sending the correct message. Key number 4 is, or was, the computer's just slowing down, working with a limited color palette, so making sure it works in just black and white or just black or just white. And also key number 5 is maximum of 2 typefaces. Don't go over the 2. It just makes it too busy and chaotic. So thank you for bearing with me. Well, we had a couple of fun interruptions. Hey, Bubba. And with working with my foggy head, and also I'm so glad the sound is working this time, so that's really good. If you would like to go into more depth on this topic, just click below, the link below that goes to the blog post, which is just goes more in depth into each of these. And I agree, Justine, typefaces are so important, like they're honestly crucial to all design. It should be invisible, and they never are. They always stand out, and it's usually terrible. So yeah, click the link below if you want to go to that blog post. Don't forget to also download the Know Your Brand workbook, because that way you can make sure that you know your own brand really well and start getting it really solid, because if you know your own brand well, it makes everything so much easier. Talking to your customers easier, writing product descriptions, actually making sales. It's so much easier if you know your brand really well. So, yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, then please share with your friends. I'm just going to click this off so that's not on her face there, so we can see Harriet. There she is. There she is. She looks tired. Yeah, please make sure to share this with your friends, or also just tag them in a comment below so they can watch the video. If you have any suggestions for topics, I haven't chosen the topic for next week's Makers TV yet, so feel free to comment below with any topic suggestions as well. Anything to do with starting a business, getting your brand on point, visual branding, graphic design, photography, anything around those topics I'm happy to cover. Organization, productivity, whatever, all good. I would love to talk about any of those. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate your time and patience with me this week, and you will see me next week, and hopefully I'll see you in the comments. Thank you. Bye. Say wave. Bye.